Hi, this is Lisa Harris with My Creative Pursuits. I'm here today with my first ever DIY Friday Step Out video tutorial. Today's project is taken from this week's Monday Mojo prompt to make a layered butterfly. Materials for this project are white cardstock. I just used plain Walmart 8.5 by 11 cardstock cut into quarters, 4.25 by 5.5 inch pieces. Distress inks in broken china, wild honey, and weathered wood, and a spritzer with water. I wanted to stay within the Monday Mojo color scheme, so that's why I chose the colors I did, but any combination of distress inks will work, and I'll be telling you about 3 different techniques that create 3 very different looks. I also decided to use a swirl background stamp as well as makeup sponges for applying the inks. I do have the Tim Holtz foam applicator tool, but for some reason I like having the ability to get my fingers in there, so I choose to use the sponges for some techniques. You'll also need buttons, floss or twine, and a butterfly punch, die, or digital cut file. Optional materials are book paper or a text background stamp to create book paper, and a starburst punch, die, or cut file. For the first technique, I sponged on quite a bit of the broken china ink. I wanted it to be my main color, so it covers most of the paper. Next, I sponged in a bit of the weathered wood. Then brought in some wild honey in the areas that were still white, as well as adding it in a few other places. Next, I spritzed the swirl background stamp with water. Then pressed it onto the paper. Like magic, the pattern began to appear as the color separated from places where the water touched it. For the second technique, I did the wrinkle-free distress shown in the Monday Mojo video. I swiped the broken china onto my craft mat first, making a fairly large area with it, then added in swipes of the other 2 colors. I spritzed the mat with water where the ink was laid down, then pressed the paper into the watered-down ink. I dried the first layer with my embossing gun, then pressed the paper into the inky water a second time. I also dried this, and the result was this splotchy, marbly effect. For the third technique, I swiped weathered wood directly onto the paper a few times, then repeated the wrinkle-free distress technique. I just used broken china and wild honey to create the inky water this time, so the weathered wood only gets used once as the base layer, and this is the result, a much more saturated color. Next, I used my big kick to cut out the butterflies in 2 different shapes. You begin to get a sense of what they're going to be like. Each individual butterfly is unique and gorgeous in its own way. So here's set 1 using the stamp resist technique. Set 2 with the wrinkle-free distress. And set 3 with the direct to paper and wrinkle-free distress techniques. Next, I cut the starburst shapes out of an actual book page. It's actually from one of my mom's old Reader's Digest condensed books. I used my Cricut with the Close to My Heart art booking cartridge. Gathered some coordinating buttons and threaded them. Then glued everything together with glossy accents. Now I've got 18 beautiful butterflies ready to add to some cards and pages. I hope you've enjoyed following along with me for this DIY Friday. I'd love to see some of your handmade embellishments. Link me up in the comments. Till next time, bye-bye.